Alright, so how's it going, YouTube? Or basically whatever's going on with this channel. We've seen the other interview that I've done. I sat down with myself in a park where I talked about, I believe, current projects, future, what inspires, what like stuff about passions. And this time around, this is pretty much like a step to a little bit of a series that I've got going on for myself. There's going to be a slightly different version on his channel too. But in this video, I'm sitting down with a good friend of mine. His name is Tom Orlando. He is an artist from Ottawa. He raps, puts some videos onto TikTok to try and share his rapping career a little bit. He's in his mid-20s, just like myself. And in this video today, what we're going to do and talk about is what it's like to be a rapper as far as now, and on top of the past, what inspires him, the difference between what's been happening from the past up till now. We play catch up a little bit because it actually has admittedly been about like six or 7 years since knowing each other, something like that, and having a good old conversation between friends and talking about the past, present, and future regarding, well, him. So today's showcase is my friend Tom Orlando. Links below to his channel, his music on Spotify. Go check him out. I highly recommend it because he's not only been blowing up a little bit, he's been on Hot 89.9, and it's just definitely worth sharing because I've been there since when he started, and I hope to see everybody jump the bandwagon to go over to him and show him some love. So here we are, Tom Orlando.
You got not that much time, but hey, man.
Nice to see you again.
It's 6 fucking years.
At
least. Yeah, 6 years, I mean. Okay, hell yeah.
There's been a lot of trials and tribulations.
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing I could reiterate is like all the shit that I was going through, but I could just leave that for another day because that's even my own interview that I did.
Yeah.
What's man? What have you been up to?
Me, working on music consistently, growing. Last time we met, I think I was 17, 18 years old. I have a kid now, which was unexpected. So a lot of stuff has really changed in terms of my mentality and perspective around life. So now trying to make sure that I make a success of myself and being able to find a new purpose in terms of what I'm going to do with a kid. It's tough. It's a lot.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like a handful of those actually considering as I was like trying, because on the first few days I was like genuinely trying to think of how to direct this a little bit. But like, you got anything that you want to promote at least at the beginning of this?
At the moment, not really. Just, new music's on the way and just expect the best stuff that I've ever made personally to come very soon.
And yeah, so for noting everything from like Top of the World, which is dead in the fucking water, to even like Wish I Could and all that. And even, what was it, Because I Can we were working out?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we did Because I Can as a kind of sequel to Wish I Could. It was supposed to be an original trilogy of sorts of a tape. That's been canned because obviously creative differences, things change as you mature, so things can't really work the same as they did. But yeah. I thought of repurposing Wish I Could just for a modern sound, modern audience. I think it was a very transformative tape, especially considering I made it at a time that I was really experimenting with my sound. So honest to God, I think it's worth a listen. Check it out on Spotify, the definitive edition. But that is definitely something that marked a start in a new way of making music. Top of the World, I don't know if that was before or after that. I think it was before. It was before that.
I got it somewhere and still have the only file, I think, because I remember you guys deleted it permanently.
Yeah, we tried that, but that's also the process of making music, right? Is you don't know where you're going, and especially when you're first starting out, you think you know what you're doing and then you don't. So now at least you learn a lot as you keep making music and keep progressing.
And that's the thing too, is that overall it's like, even for me with my things that I've got going on, trials and tribulations, and then on top of that you're figuring out what works, what doesn't work. Like look at when we were doing the photography photo shoots and all that, all the way back in the 12-week entrepreneurship program I was in, right? I started off with the phone, got the DSLR, which I ended up having to pawn, but I have a new one. And then on top of that, that's when around what we were doing for portrait photography, couples photography, and then even just trying to do mock-up posters for your cover art.
Yep.
Like that's where over time, even with me, it's like that was the path that I went to. It's like, those are like the 3 things I'll do. So I haven't done wedding photography too, actually.
Well, honestly, I mean, that photo shoot was fantastic. Truly, I think that was a great time. I'm looking forward to doing more in the future, and honestly, you've done really well. It's nice to see that even 5-6 years later, we're still on the same path of trying to follow our dreams, right? I mean, that's what matters the most, especially in this day and age. Everybody seems to be focused on things that don't really matter. They don't follow their heart.
Yeah, and that's saying it from like the day zero with him and I, because because like I said, even before the jail start, I was working off a phone. Like even I got a phone now, of course, but that's better quality as is.
I know. 7 years ago, the quality was terrible, but now look, it's like a professional video recording.
Even like the post editing and all that, right? It's just overall better. And on top of that, it's just and motivationally, like how does shit really change for you? Because I obviously with the kid, like that was another thing I was gonna like lead up into, but shit, this book is now pointless because it's like tapped into. But like like how the motivations change from it, like almost pretty much like in the order of top of the world to wish I could, and then it became
a slew project,
like straight up into the idea of it being a trilogy. Of course, like I remember still doing the idea of voice acting and I mean taking part of that because even the photo shoot for that was fun. I still like using those, and then even for I noticed you still use the wish I could photo. Never changed.
No, because honestly, it's one of those things where it's hard to find people in this time now who are not trying to make money, right? So the biggest problem I've had in terms of trying to find a bigger step up or a level up in the industry is you need a team, right? So without a team, you're unable to actually start doing things in a better way. So you were gone, so there was almost nobody willing to work at a reasonable price or even just trying to grow as a team, right? To be able to make photos, videos, because we're all still starting out, right? It doesn't matter if you have 1,000 followers, even 5. That's nothing in the grand scheme of things. You're trying to make it to the 100K, the 150K, and all these things. So imagine when you hear people who have 100 followers, okay, well, it's 500 for a video shoot. What are you talking about? Yeah. That's ridiculous. So over the years, that I've had to consistently use the same photos, but honestly, they were great photos too, right? Mm-hmm. And I still have the raw photo, like the unedited and stuff. So with that, that's where it's kind of hard to see where I'm going to go. So I focused from turning it into a trilogy with Wish I Could to then I became more mature, went through a breakup, I think 2018 with my first love. Yeah. So basically what ended up happening is I'm not a rapper. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to create a new trilogy. Then from that, you just kind of start scrambling and then you keep maturing. And that's the thing when you're making music at a young age, right? Is you don't know where the hell you're going because every year you're a different person. So now I'm working on my follow-up to I'm Not a Rapper, which is I'm Not a Rapper too. And this is to basically bring in the new age of my mentality and really just a new sound, really focusing in on a lot of the pain and tribulations I went through the past couple of years. Motivation wise, it's been tough. Of course, life has its ups and downs, but of course, a lot more downs when you're around, 2021. Yeah. So basically, I just went through another breakup with the mother of my child. Mm-hmm. So now navigating these new waters while making music and trying to make money and make things a career, it makes it very tough. But at the end of the day, these are the things that give me the inspiration to continue, right? It's that kind of thought. And now with a child, you have to be a success. You don't have a choice. When you're a father, you either make it or you become a loser. You're a loser and basically regret a lot of the decisions you made while being young to basically, bring your child up. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's like, for example, I don't want to look back 10 years from now thinking, why didn't I try to make myself a success and follow my dreams? And then my kid's going to look at me like I'm a loser, right? Just working a 9 to 5 or doing something that everybody else does. That's not an inspiration to your child, right? You want to make sure to do something that they're going to look up to you like a hero. Yeah, I was actually going to lead into that. It's like the inspiring hero type story. Exactly. And that's the only way I think as a father you need to navigate. I know me personally, I'm not sure about you too much, but I'm pretty sure I know a lot of people who didn't have fathers growing up, right? Our generation seems to be the ones that don't have a lot of fathers. So it's another mission to kind of break that cycle, right? And to be a present father and really try to be the best you can. Yeah, and that's the thing, right? It's like it's the same thing with me. It's like even though I'm single and even childless and all that, it's even working on shit now. It's to build that future of where it needs to be. Yeah. So then not only is it supporting for the partner I have in the time, and then whatever children that I may or may not have, it's being the hero is the only one that's popping up because it was like a word now used, but it's like literally just being there, stepping up, being like doing what needs to be done, and then also being inspiring the rest. Exactly. And that's the only way to look at it, man. Life really seems to be a bitch in terms of everything. You never really plan things out because I'm still growing. I'm only 24. Yeah. So that's how shit. That's how it feels when it's amping up because it's like the past couple days leading up to this video too. The past couple weeks, it's like shit. I'm like 25 and like what the fuck do I got going on? But at the same time we're still young, right? But I feel as though because we've been trying this, and this is the thing about our chosen passions is that these kind of paths, it's like gambling, thing, right?
No,
You got to do it for 10 years, and then even maybe 10 years from now, then you're finally going to hit it. It can hit from now till you're fucking 35, depending how long you do it, right? There's a lot of artists and photographers and producers who work, 15 years? And then when they're like 35, oh shit, now I made it.
I mean, look at Taika Waititi, whatever his name was, who's been behind a few Marvel movies. Even Ready Player One, he not only directed, but was an actor. I can't remember what age he is. He's like, I think he's in his 40s. Don't quote me on that. But even by the time he started actually getting big roles, it's later in life.
Exactly.
And somehow, like, that tends to be the thing. But yeah, no, that's a good point. It's like building the stepping stones. Like, it takes a long time, even though it's like the middle ground of being young, and yet we're not young. And then even like for where I'm going at, where like even though I'm using the phone now, it's like having camera to get back into photography, and then I'm doing the streaming as much as I can. And then even with the bike over there, it's like I can try and use that to get to wherever I am doing for the photo shoots. And hopefully we can do more photo shoots, and then that way it's bouncing off each other at the same time, like we kind of used to, and then go
eventually creating some type of thing, right? So it's like, for example, the way I look at it and why I think it's important to build a team over hiring people and doing this kind of business stuff at the beginning is at least you become familiar with each other's works and the way you work together. And then eventually when you start making money, it's easier to be like, all right, here's your cut, here's my cut. Now we're making things as a collaboration, and boom. Then you start networking and being able to have that ability to make money and know that you got people you don't need, right? Like look at almost every popular artist, specifically, I don't know names, but like for example,
I got an example. Adam Sandler and his crew. They're always hiring each other. Well,
Exactly.
Adam Sandler's always hiring his friends. Because even though, like, yeah, I mean, to an extent, the movies might be mid. It's kind of like a, I don't know, cold take, hot take, whatever. One of those things where it's kind of an inspiration because it's like at that point, you're making enough to keep your friends employed.
Yeah.
And then in turn, you're keeping each other employed as much as possible.
Exactly. And you see, I think it helps you build relationships as well, because if I had a photographer, right, let's say we've been working together for the last 5 years, we would have been in a higher spot than we are now, because we would have been able to go to multiple spots, multiple different people, multiple networkings. If I would have known different artists, hey, go to my friend Jerry, he does photography, boom, 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 stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you're alone, it's hard. Obviously, one of the biggest challenges I've had is trying to make it, wind, thank you. One of the biggest challenges I've had is to try to network in terms of other artists, and trying to make it locally is near impossible, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know people, it's near impossible. I've had a lot of success overseas. I have a lot of I have thousands of listeners in random countries around the world, but for some reason, locally, you're not popped, right? And I think there's some type of little gatekeeping going on to try to keep you. I've messaged multiple artists. I've messaged managers, everything. I have thousands of listeners. I've been on the 89.9 radio.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Or at least I seen what was shared, and I think I was trying to catch it live, and I was like, hey, shit, I fucking know that guy.
Yeah, and
That's
still
impressive, actually, admittedly. Even the very top of the world that's been mentioned a couple times now, it's like from that point to the point where time later on, it's like now you're actually getting more recognized a little bit.
Exactly, but the problem is, again, looking for the team, because now it's a question of market. Right now it's a question of how do you capitalize on my song wasn't enough. That's the one that blew up, and I made that in 2019, and it blew up early 2022, I believe, like April. It's at 400,000 streams on Spotify, which is crazy. Over 1 million plays on some random international site, and YouTube 170,000 views, right? Blowing up. It's still gaining numbers. I don't know how, and I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to do to capitalize on it. So that's what I've been trying to figure out for months. So all I thought is, okay, make more music. But now it's a challenge of how do you keep building a wave, right? And that's where a team comes in, because if you had people who are able to help you navigate those waters, probably be able to pop, right? It's like, it's like setting a fucking fuse in the rain.
Yeah, because I know one big thing that I've been kind of keeping up and then kind of not, but like even marketing, right?
Yeah.
It's like that's where even I was taking my photography page, amping it up as far as that. Obviously, with where that's standing, it's kind of like harder as is.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, both being at the beginning, like trying to build recognition with each other sort of thing.
Exactly.
To grow that audience even. Admittedly, even when I've been out of town, man, I've actually been sharing certain songs with a couple of women, and then not only I don't know if they continue to listen, but then their response is like, oh yeah, that's a great song, and then they are now a fan. I found my sister as a fan at one point. And then I remember the original songs that you had, I think if I recall, you deleted, because I've seen that you've been remastering, kind of like what I do with my stuff. And like even some older stuff I try to work on, like the poetry and whatnot that initially started this, which was, you know what, I don't even remember the name of the business model I was going for. But yeah, no, it's like poetry. It's like I want to try and turn that into something storytelling through a visual medium. Partly why I'm trying to do these videos, and at the same time like lean into an idea of how to like direct properly and all that. Yeah. Take that to the next level. So that way it's off the paper and it's in a video sort of thing.
That's like taking the vision into reality, right?
Yeah, it's giving that extra creativeness and just recycling it essentially,
Exactly. Honestly, I'm done with mastering projects. Me, I'm focusing on newer stuff now. So from here on out should be all new stuff because remastering projects can only take you so far, right? The work is good, but it's not like the work it is now. So you don't want to keep rehashing old stuff because different mentality, different view, different audience, all that stuff.
Yeah, not to mention at the same time is like, even like I was saying, like my sister was trying to listen to a couple of them. You took it down, remastered it, and then pulled back up. And I just remember she was trying to look for something.
Yeah.
And then it was just kind of gone. So it's like having a situation like that, that could also be hindering things.
Exactly, because now their favorite songs are gone. But that...
even if it's temporary, it's still like...
Exactly.
It's gone when they want to.
Exactly.
When I want to listen to it.
But other than that, yeah, man. I think right now we should definitely do a part 2, a different interview, because time is on the essence. But honestly, this has been an incredible. I think this is great.
I guess sums it up really, because and then even aside from growing, so it's like you got any like growth for TikTok and YouTube? Any plans for that?
Honestly, at the moment, probably make more videos, more reels. I see that's a bigger thing that's starting to become popular.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap it up here.
Yeah. All right. No. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're basically trying to make sure. What do you call it? Trying to make sure that I capitalize on the reels and TikTok. That's the best way. Making new videos.
Have you thought about even live streaming some of your behind?
Possible.
I know because you record with your phone kind of like me right now.
Yeah.
Where it's like you have enough. Do you have like a 1,000 follower cap? I can't remember.
No, I'm around 300, 200. Not too big, so still new.
Because I remember it's like 1,000 get into the whole streaming part of it.
No, yeah, no, I'm not.
So at that point, it's maybe in terms of in tandem with this, maybe I can even try and, well, actually it's a long trip, but it's like pop over somewhere and record something in a way that while live streaming, it garners your attention a little bit and then kind of build off from there. Because I had that 1,000 minimum, I just haven't been able to capitalize on it myself, as we've been saying about capitalizing.
Exactly, man. Well, it was great.
For sure, man.
And we'll definitely do this again.